Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome in once again. Today we're going to do something that I haven't really done in a long time. I used to do it as knives and wine, and then I did scotch and knives. And honestly, it's about 10:30 in the morning, and I try not to start drinking alcohol till at least 11 o'clock. So today it's going to be coffee. Oh God, that tastes good. Today's selection is a chocolate mocha. Yeah, chocolate mocha, some kind of hazelnut roast. I don't know. So we're looking at the end of the year now. We're coming up on, let's see, today is the 21st of December, 2022. And I got to tell you, this has been one of the strangest years for me personally. But knife wise, I got to say it's been a pretty damn good year. Now, if you watch my end of the year recap, my top 10 knives, which ended up having like, I don't know, 20 knives in it because it's really hard to pick just 10. You saw that there was a lot of really cool shit that came out in this past year that was a lot different than everything else. I mean, case in point, the Factor. Man, the Winterblade Factor is just, it's one of those knives that I know a lot of people don't have in their collection yet, but they're going to. There's big pre-orders going on. They're going to be shipping out soon. I talked to Brian recently, and he said that he's basically spending the next 3 weeks doing the quality control and packing everything up and throwing extra goodies in the boxes, and that they'll all be on their way soon. So I know a lot of people are excited about that, and unfortunately, there's just not enough to go around. And that's really a common theme for all the best stuff in this past year. And I think it's important to discuss why. I think we've seen in the past, let's say 3 years, an abundance of either knife makers or simply just knife designers that are going out and having production knives made because they can't come up with enough of their own products if they're a custom knife maker to really satisfy the demand they have. So they take a really popular model like the Jaeger M from Brian Brown Knives, and they have a company like Riot produce it, where it's going to be a super high quality knife, but yet can still be made in a high quantity. And because of that high quantity, it drives the price down. You know, you're going to spend about $1,000 to get your hands on a Jaeger custom, no matter what size it is, depending on the materials and everything else. And I don't know what his wait time is, but I'd say probably 6 months to a year before you would get your custom. Here, for about 350 bucks, give or take a few dollars, and a lot of different options available, a lot of people got a chance to get their hands on one of these knives. And I think it's changing the tide of the industry, and it's not really a bad thing. When I brought this up 7 or 8 years ago, where more people were making mid-techs and more people were turning to production, it began affecting the values of the customs. And I don't want to say that as far as the secondary market is concerned, and I'm sure, yeah, there was definitely some effect there, but when it came to the makers, they were having a harder time selling a $1,500 knife if they contracted with a high-end company like Riot to manufacture a production version that was really close to the look of the custom for $300 to $800. It made it where people went, the quality is amazing, the action is amazing, I've got a lot of different options when I order. Is it really worth it for me to spend the extra money and buy the custom? Now, almost always, I'm going to tell you, yeah, buy the custom. But it began to muddy the water a lot. And I think that was the first big shift we saw in the knife industry in quite a while. And now we're seeing further and further effects of this as We Knives have gotten tremendously better with their knife making, with their machining, with their finishes. And Reich Knives, the same way. I mean, look at the Microtech collaborations that they've done. In a lot of cases, you'll read people saying, hey, I have the Marfione Custom SOCOM, and I actually prefer the Reich knives for, what was it, $300 or $325. A lot of times, the quality has gotten so good in the past few years that you're seeing a lot of people, myself included, who really only liked to collect very high-end knives, buying into a lot of production knives. Now, I'm still very, very happy collecting my custom knives. I absolutely love them, but I got to tell you, when somebody like Brian Winters can come out with something like this is the upcoming Mirage. I got to tell you, there's something to be said for looking again at these production knives. If you're the kind that just doesn't ever buy a production knife, I get that. That's totally fine. There's going to be that type of buyer always. And whether that's because you're always shopping in that budget range because you can afford it and you never look down. You know, it's like the guy that has a garage full of Porsches and Ferraris probably isn't driving by a Honda or Toyota lot very often and taking a look to see what's available. I get that. But there are still a lot of collectors that are in this just for the love of knives. And because of that, they'll buy something that's $5,000, buy something that's $500, and they can find a way to enjoy it equally. And then you have crazy shit like this. This should not exist. But the Quechetti is only about $300. Why? Because, well, it's made in China. It's not made of a super premium steel. Actually, it's a good steel, as I'm looking on here right now. It's 154 cm. Nothing wrong with that at all. But this is the kind of knife that if this were a custom, and I don't know that Jake offers a custom version of this, you'd be spending probably about $1,200-$1,500 for something like this. Meanwhile, you can run out for $300 and buy it any day of the week. Another great example, the 904 by Dan Carraher. This is an exceptional knife and one of my favorites in my entire collection. Well, this knife in the monosteel version, not the Damasteel, is in the $300 range, where his custom in the same materials and finishes would be nearly 3 times that price. It's worth it because it's one man spending a chunk of his life making that one knife that goes into your collection. You may have a week or a month of a knife maker's life sitting in that zippered pouch when it arrives on your doorstep. So yes, it's worth every penny. However, when he goes to a brand like Riot and says, make my design in a production knife, well, now you're buying into some of the best actions on the market, some of the best finishing on the market, and you rarely ever hear of any kind of failure rate whatsoever when it comes to a brand like them. So now you've got a titanium integral for probably a third of the price of what Dan would charge if he was making the knife for you. This particular version here, mine is done with a Damasteel blade. That's about a $650 knife that would cost you more along the lines of $1,500 if it were the custom. So what I'm trying to say in my long-winded manner is, this is a really, really exciting time for knife collectors. You don't necessarily have to break the bank to get something awesome, to get something with special materials. This MechForce M1. The carbon fiber inlays that are done on this knife, when these started coming out, camo carbon, there's so many. I'm blanking right now. There are so many different manufacturers of fancy colored carbon fiber and different matrices built within them. When they first came out, and I was one of the first guys to jump on a few of these myself in making my knives. The material's expensive when you're buying 1 or 2 or 3 scale sets at a time. When these companies are buying probably 100 to 500 at a time, obviously it's going to drop the price. Every time we saw these knives coming out with this type of material in the beginning, it was crazy, crazy expensive. My Varga knives right here, VBR. The material on these scales is expensive for a custom knife maker to offer. It's not too terribly time consuming in the labor because they finish well at around 600 grit. They don't really have to go up into a high polished 2,000, 5,000 grit and then buff it or anything like that. But there's still work that goes into it. when it's channeled through a large OEM, a large manufacturer, it just makes it a lot easier and a lot more accessible to a lot more people. So now, if you ever drooled over having the Arctic Blue carbon fiber on a knife, well, you can spend about $300, $400, $500 and buy a knife that's not only got that material that you really, really wanted, that's exotic and it's rare and it's hard to come by, but you've got a knife that you enjoy, you've got an action that feels great when you're fidgeting and playing with it, and it does everything that you want it to do. Now, the other question really is going to be, all right, if I'm saving that much money, if the price is that much less, how is the heat treat? And to be honest with you, not many people really know. When you deal with a brand like Riot, you know that their heat treat is tight. It's exactly where it needs to be. They're hitting their target HRC like they should be across these huge batches. But even with a brand as great as Riot, they're not testing each individual blade. They would go out of business. They wouldn't have time to do it. So they're taking a batch. Let's say they're doing conservatively 25 knives. They'll pull those 25 blades. They'll test one. If that one tests within spec, that batch is good. They batch another 25 heat treat. Take them out. They test that one. It's good. So can there be some variances? Yeah, I think absolutely there can be. But on these smaller, unknown brands, and we're seeing a lot of those popping up, especially on various YouTube channels where they're struggling to put out a lot of content. And I know that feeling. But there are YouTube channels where they're trying to put out 1, 2, or even 3 videos every single day. You know, I admire the hard work they're putting into this. It's not a difficult, you're not out there digging ditches, but making these videos isn't exactly easy. It's very time consuming is the best way to put it. You're making the video, you're setting up for the video, you're buying all this lighting equipment and everything else, and then you're editing every video. Even if it's just for editing time or editing a few mistakes out here or there, or editing and changing the density levels so your lighting looks better, whatever it is, figure if you're watching a 15-minute video, it's going to take them an hour to edit it. And it's probably going to take them a half hour to film it. So they're putting in a lot of time and they're cranking out 1, 2, 3 videos every single day. But the problem with that is you run out of shit to review. And we'll discuss the reviewing process and where I feel the industry has gone recently with that. But you can't go out there and expect somebody, especially if they don't have a Patreon, if they don't have a way for you to support them, unless they're independently wealthy, they can't run out and buy 30 to 90 knives a month, even if they're only a $100 knife. It's just not feasible. So what they're doing is they're relying on a lot of these brands to let them borrow knives, or in a lot of cases you're allowed to keep them. We'll discuss that as well. Not every knife is going to be a winner, but they've got to provide you good content, educational content, hopefully, but entertaining content. And they're going to come out here and tell you that every knife in their hand is the greatest thing ever. And I can't stand that. I think that you should always come out with a positive attitude. I've seen what happens if you give a negative review on a knife. It can do some pretty serious damage if you have a large following to that brand or to that knife maker. But you have to be balanced. You don't have to say that this is the greatest knife there ever was, or the greatest knife that you've come across on your table all year long. You can just say it's a good knife. And you can discuss its merits, you can discuss its features, its benefits, and the things that hold it back from being maybe the best knife of the year. You've got to be balanced, otherwise you lose your audience. And as a lot of channels grow, it's not greed, it's drive. They feel that drive to always provide better and better content and more consistently in order to keep their subscribership. Now, I'm one of the older YouTube knife reviewers on the scene. I've been doing this for a decade. A lot of guys have been coming along in the past 5, 4, 3, even 1 year, and they're putting out a tremendous amount of content. And a lot of them are really, really good at it. Some of them, I'm not really sure what they're doing, sitting in the passenger seat of their car in a Walmart parking lot holding knives up to the camera. But you know what? It's not about the equipment that you've got. It's about sharing your love and enjoyment for the knife community. But if you're going to review knives, people are tuning into you expecting a certain degree of professionalism, and that's, you're not tuning into my goofy ass for professionalism, but something that makes them want to come back. So you spend the money on the lighting setups and the cameras and the microphones and editing software, and you spend the time to learn how to do all this stuff as best as you can. I just moved into a new house. My studio is not set up yet. I threw this together, and I've got half a blank wall over here and a table sitting off to the side. It's going to get better as I have time to unpack and figure out where things are going to go. But there's a reason why people tune into you. And take away the expensive lighting setups, take away the 4K or HD camera, take away the fancy sets and props and backdrops and everything else. It all boils down to the knives and to the reviewer's integrity. And I'm going to be honest with you, if you're trying to push out a video every single day or 2 or 3 videos every single day, some people can do it and maintain their integrity because they're getting the opportunity through a lot of their friends to get a hold of knives. They've made good relationships with makers and, with brands to get a lot of knives. But at some point, there's a threshold. And I myself have hit that threshold where I can't get enough content in to provide out to you. I set up a Patreon about 1.5 years or so ago, and some of you were on there, and I thank you guys so very much for doing that. But my Patreon's dropped off because Patreon nailed me for doing giveaways. You're not allowed to do giveaways. And they also didn't like what I was giving away. So I had to stop announcing giveaways and doing the drawings and all that stuff. So what happened? I lost half my patrons in about 2 months as a result of that. Well, that's just the way it is. Some people are only growing their membership and their followership because they're giving away knives all the time. Hey, let's do a live show and give away a knife for 3 or 4 every week. And while that's awesome and it's great to see them give back to the community, that's a lot of times why they have the big followers, the big followership, I guess it's not a real word, but we're going to go with that. And that expectation, again, is raised. So where everybody else is just putting out good content, I'll give you a great example. My buddy Kevin, Lefty EDC, he does about 2 or 3 videos every single day. But there's always something cool. And he doesn't tell you that everything in front of him is the greatest thing ever. He takes his time with his videos. He has fun. You can watch and enjoy, and you can see the fun that he's having. And he knows a lot of people in the community, a lot of fellow knife collectors that'll send him a whole bunch of knives and fidget spinners and toys and everything else to kind of do videos on, and he keeps up with great content. Then you've got others with, big followings, and they're bringing out stuff, and you're looking and going, why? And then there's a clickbaity thumbnail. Why? Be selective. Because at some point, people are just going to realize you're just out there hawking anything that somebody will send you. And then, there's the affiliate programs. You'll notice anytime, and you can go back to every single video that I've ever uploaded. When you see a link to a product in one of my videos, it's a straight up link. You can look at the URL. It's a straight up URL. It's the same URL that you would be able to navigate to, copy, and you'll see they're the exact same one. There's no hidden code. There's no skeleton 20. There's no nothing. I get no kickbacks. I've been offered from a lot of distributors and a lot of knife brands, hey, let's do this, and we'll do something where there's a little code. They click the link, and no matter what they buy off the website, you get a percentage. That's not what I'm here for. Sure, I'd love to make money. I'd love to make more money than I'm making right now. That's for damn sure. But that's not why I do this. I started doing this for my love of knives and the enjoyment I have within the community. So you'll never see an affiliate link ever in any of my video descriptions. You're welcome to go back and look at all of them. When I give you a link, it's because this is the available product. This is where it's going to be. I love to work with distributors like Caviso and Urban EDC Supply. Yes, I could do an affiliate program with them, but I don't do it. I do it because I really, really, really like how they run their business. I like their website. I like what they do for their customers, price-wise, availability-wise, exclusivity. These really cool exclusive runs. There's one coming out this weekend. Urban EDC Supply is going to be doing a nimble in an exclusive pattern strictly for them. Mine was supposed to be here today. Unfortunately, they shipped it to my old house in Texas because I neglected to let them know, hey, I've got a new address. So my video won't be out in time to promote that product. But I didn't request it to promote that product. I requested it because I'm a Nimble fan. I'm a Nimble collector. I love them. And I know a lot of other people love them. And to see another exclusive come up, another interesting pattern, I wanted to share that with everybody. So by the time I make that video and share it with you, they'll be sold out. But the focus will be not only on how great that cool new looking presentation of that knife is, but how great it is to deal with Urban EDC Supply. They're always doing exclusive drops. They're always offering really, really good discounts and fast shipping. Same thing with, oh my God, I just blanked. So I'm talking about Urban EDC Supply. It's about Caviso also. Caviso is the same way. And I enjoy buying products from them. I enjoy working with them. I enjoy the products that they're offering. I'm not getting anything out of it. So yeah, that's the only time you see links in my descriptions. I do it because I enjoy it. And I hope that you guys are here because you enjoy the videos. I hope that you can see the excitement that I get over certain knives. This is another great one. The Plunkett XL Warney. I still carry this thing. I still love this thing. And for a full custom knife, it is not very expensive at all. All right, so I promised I would tell you a little bit about how the whole knife reviewing thing goes. It's not exactly the same as, let's say you're shopping for a big screen TV. One of the things that you're going to do is you're going to research it, right? And you're going to see a whole bunch of tech channels on YouTube that review gadgets and computers and televisions and all kinds of consumer products. You don't ever know which one to trust because they're all pushing to sell you something, because at some point they're all getting a kickback or they're getting advertising dollars. And I'm not above taking advertising dollars, sure, and I never have, but I'd love to. Anybody wants to throw an ad in one of my videos, let me know. But that's not going to change my opinion on the product in front of me, because honestly, if I lied about something in my hand under an HD lens, you're going to see it. Oh, this is a fantastic buttery smooth action, and the knife barely closes under its own weight. Here's a good example, just because I haven't broken this one in yet. I can sit there and tell you how great this action is, but you can see that not broken in yet, it's not very smooth. It's smooth opening, it's got a nice detent, but it doesn't have that drop-free action that you might be expecting. So, but you can't do that with every single knife. Somebody could be showing you a $150 knife and it looks pretty good to you on camera. The guy talking over the shot of the knife says it's the greatest thing since, I don't know, you fucking sliced bread. So as I'm sitting here talking to you about production quality, I have an alarm go off in the middle of my video, and I had to stop and make this really ugly, hard edit and throw back up here to me. Sorry about that. Anyway, I believe what I was talking about was how taking advertising money and doing partnerships and everything else can, in some cases, influence how somebody's going to review a knife. Listen, nobody is immune to that. the longer you do this, the more offers you get, the more you're like, man, I'd like to work with that company again because I got a cool free knife out of it. Or they offered to sponsor a giveaway that I'm doing or something like that. And it's really, really tempting to want to say nice, wonderful, glowing things about that product because you don't want to ruin the opportunity to work with them again and get something else cool. It's an easy trap to fall into. I'm not going to lie. But the way that it should be done is you get the product, you review it, however you get it, whether it's given to you to keep, whether you're borrowing it to send back to the company, whether you're borrowing it as part of a pass around and it's going to the next reviewer, no matter what it is, you should always take a look at it and go, is this one knife, no matter what it is this one knife worth me losing all of my followers because they realized I bullshitted them to make that knife seem better than it really is? That's why I spend a lot of time doing very high definition close-up photography. I want you to see all the aspects of the knife the way that I see it. What excites me about that knife is what I photograph. But everything is as high definition as I can possibly do it because I want you to see for yourself as if you were holding it in your hands, is it as great as I want it to be? And there are knives that I have received in that I wanted to be great. They just fell short of that. There have been a lot that you've never seen on my channel because I sent them back and went, I'm sorry, it's just this isn't ready for prime time. This isn't ready for an HD lens to be a 1/16 of an inch away from your pivot because it's a little goofy in some way. Yes, I try to bring out to you only the knives that I really like. And it's not about my personal taste. You guys know I cannot stand front flippers, can't do them, absolutely hate front flippers. However, this A. Purvis Knives Rook, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. It's fantastic. And I can recognize that for somebody that likes a front flipper, this is going to be one of their favorite knives that they're ever going to own. So when I say that I have to like the knife, it has to have something about it that is appealing. High quality, beautiful design, beautiful materials, quality craftsmanship. Something has to be there that I can latch on to and go, I really, really want to show this to everybody. Do knife reviewers get to keep knives? Yeah, absolutely. Not as often as you would think, though. I would say I've done more videos on knives that I have borrowed from other collectors and sent back than anything else. Second to that are knives from my own personal collection that I've bought. Far distant third are knives that I get to keep. Here's one I got to keep and I really, really enjoy it. The MechForce M1. And I reached out to them. Normally, they're reaching out to the reviewers. They're reaching out to me. They come to me and go, hey, I've got something new coming out. Do you want to check it out? And I went to them and I said, this thing is really cool. A buddy of mine had one of these. He says, hey, you should probably check one of these out. And he had a different version than I really wanted to show off. I ended up getting a different version than I wanted to show off. They sent me something a little bit nicer. And they said, hey, no matter how it goes with the video, just enjoy it. You're welcome to keep it. You know, thank you for taking the time to do the photography and the videos that you do because they've watched my videos for years. And I got to tell you, I was not expecting great things with this knife. And whether you like the overall design of it or not, the quality is fantastic. This thing is held together and I have actually used it. There have been no issues with the inlays that we were all worried about because the inlays pop out and you can replace them. That's how you take the knife apart because there's no exposed hardware anywhere on the knife. And I went, you know what? This is a brand that really shows promise. I'm excited to see what they do in the future because the action's great. The edge is phenomenal. The build quality is off the charts. This is exactly what I would want to buy for myself. And that's why I wanted to share it with you. So, do you get to keep knives? Yeah, yeah, sometimes. Just not very often. Some of my favorite knives that I've shown on this channel. One example was the Null Knives Voodoo. I ain't got no voodoo here. Nope, no voodoo. And a lot of times I do get to keep a prototype or a one-off or something like that. My original Alpha Beast, not this one. This is the Damasteel version, but the original version. Come on. I don't know why that wouldn't open. My original version, they made one prototype, and they were nice enough to send it to me, and I was able to keep it. It doesn't mean, and you can go back and watch the video, I never said it was the greatest nice and sliced bread. It's just really cool for what it is. I really enjoy it, and I'm thankful for those opportunities. But most of the time, it's like with the voodoo. Oh man, did I want to keep that voodoo? Oh, I didn't ask to, but I really, really wanted to. But it was a prototype, and it was being sent along to a lot of different reviewers. Does that mean I'm going to say no? Hell no! Send that bitch over. I can't wait to tell people how awesome that knife is. And I think that's going to be one of the best knives of 2023. That's what year we're going into, right? 2023. I have a genuine excitement for that knife because that knife is that good. And I got nothing out of it. And I didn't want anything out of it. And if you're going to do a YouTube channel, you're going to review knives, and you're going to be part of the community, then you just got to do it for the love of it. Not because you can possibly get free shit. That's just the way it is. Is it nice? Absolutely. That means I can add an extra knife to my collection, something else I can enjoy and carry. It also means at some point, when I need to review something else that I can't get my hands on otherwise, I might take that knife and trade it to get one, or I might take that knife and sell it so I have the money to buy that other knife that I really, really want to review. And that's another weird thing about this business. And don't let anybody fool you, it's a business. I had a knife maker that I didn't even realize had unfollowed me. Then I found out was kind of talking trash about me behind my back to other people because he had made me a couple of knives. They were customs in order for me to review. I enjoyed both of them. The first one, good knife, surprising for the price that it was. The second knife, off the charts amazing. Super, super great knife. And he was a relative unknown at the time. And I helped through showing you guys my genuine excitement for his products, build his business up. He would have done fine without me. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not saying that I'm the reason he's successful. What I'm saying is early on, I got the chance to expose you guys to him when he was able to take orders. He wasn't so busy that he couldn't. And now all he does is lotteries and stuff like that. It was a way for him to ramp his business up more quickly than he typically would have. And at some point, I had to get other knives in for content, period. That's just the way it was, especially those particular 2 years that I had those knives. There was stuff I really wanted to get my hands on. So I sold those knives, like we all do, like every YouTube reviewer in the history of reviewers has done, to finance that new thing that I wanted to bring out to you. Apparently, he took that very, very personally. Well, I made that knife for you. I wanted you to have that. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that, and you turn around and sell it. I'm sure is what was running through his mind. That's not how it goes at all. You can't own and keep everything that you have in your collection. Those of you that collect a lot, you know that. Your collection is in a constant state of flux, and you're just a regular collector. You're buying, selling, and trading all the time. You're not doing it because you're trying to put content out for others to enjoy. I only have so much room in my collection cases. I only have so much room in this room for more collection cases. And honestly, I only have so much time to carry so many knives. And there are certain knives that honestly monopolize my time. When I first got this Peña Mula, which I did buy from Sons of Liberty Gunworks off their website, because they didn't know who the hell I was, I couldn't just reach out to them and go, hey, I know you only had 250 of these made, but can I have one to review? Doesn't work like that. And this monopolized my pocket for the better part of a month. I hardly carried other things. It was the Mula, and the Factor that particular month, and I was still highly addicted to my Nimble. So I would say out of the entire month, these are probably the only 3 knives I even carried. Well, there's only so many knives that you can carry when you're doing that, when you get a pure enjoyment out of something. So, yeah, you're going to sell them, you're going to trade them, you're going to do something to get that new content in. And if somebody can't handle that for some reason, fuck them, don't care. That's just the way it is. Most companies or most knife makers look at it as, okay, if I choose on my own to make this knife and send this to a reviewer and let them keep it, that's my time, that's my materials, that's X amount of dollars. However, if they like the knife and their followers feel that energy and they like that knife, and 4 people buy that same knife, that's paid for everything that I've done to give this knife to that reviewer and let them keep it. Now, if they get 20 orders or 50 orders or 200 orders, it grows and grows and grows for them. So that's why I'll never understand that way of thinking, because at the end of the day, it is going to be a business. I began doing this because I love knives and I had time on my hands and I wanted to share my collection with people. And over time, it's just developed into what it is. Do I make a living off of this? Oh, hell no. I have videos with over 1 million views on them. I see hardly anything from that. Ad revenue? Shit. Ad revenue doesn't pay for anything anymore. If you're making a couple $100 a month off of YouTube ad revenue, you're doing really, really good. This is not the lucrative business people think it is. If you're going to make this your job, and some have because they're good at it and they enjoy it, yeah, you do the affiliate programs. You provide links to stuff all the time that you get paid for. Look at people that, I don't know, they review blenders and kitchen items and coffee tables and shit like that and camera equipment. And they send you to their Amazon store and you click on any link. Here's a link to what I'm showing you in this video. And you click on it, it goes to Amazon. It's an Amazon affiliate link. And you don't have to buy that product. You can buy anything off of Amazon after you've clicked through with that link, and they get a small percentage. They're able to make a living doing that if they have, I would say, once you've hit about 150,000 subscribers and up, you could probably make a pretty good living doing that, just doing that. It's just not me. It's just not who I am. Because I want you to always know when you come to my channel, well, you're coming here to hopefully have a little bit of fun, hear a dirty joke here or there, and see something cool, see something that I'm excited about, and maybe something that you didn't even know existed. And if you're lucky, it's a product that's currently available, and I could say, hey, there's a link down below. Click on that, and you can go buy one of these, or you could pre-order one of these, or whatever the case may be. And I know I'm rambling. And I know I have no alcohol in this, I promise. But that's one of the things that I think I've always enjoyed about doing these ramble videos. The knives and wine and scotch and knives and all that kind of stuff. Because there's no set thing for me to talk about. And as I ramble, you get to discover a little bit more and peel back another layer or two. I think at the end of the day, as long as you're enjoying the content somebody's providing to you, enjoy it for what it is. If you're strictly watching a video to see, is that particular product worth me purchasing? Should I get it? Is it good? Is it worth my money? Then pay attention to everything about that presenter's channel, about how they do their videos, about how often they're getting money from you buying something. And then, that doesn't mean don't trust them if they're making money off of you. Just keep that in the back of your mind. And then, hopefully, you can find another video or 2 or 3 on that same product. And then you can average out what you think is going to be best for you. My formula has always remained the same. I tell you what I'm excited about. I tell you the things that attracted me to it. the things that I enjoy, the things that I find unique, and I try to give you a background on the maker or the manufacturer, give you a little bit of story in there so you understand more of what you're buying so that you have all the information you need to make up your own mind. Yeah, there have been times where I've said, you need to buy this. I still remember going back to 2014 when nobody knew who Ramon Chavez was. And I had one of the 10 Redencian prototypes. And I said, this is going to be the knife of the year. And now look how enormous the popularity is surrounding all of Ramon's knives. Not because I said it was going to be that great, but because myself and 9 other people got a chance to go out there and play with these and tell people on YouTube what we thought of them. And people got to discover very, very quickly that they're amazing. And now he's making production knives that everybody can afford. So when it comes down to it, always trust your gut. I'm always going to sound like a salesman because I'm bringing out to you the stuff that excites me. And I spent a lot of years out of my life being a salesman. It's just kind of how I come across. But you can always message me, or you can leave comments down below and go, well, what did you think of this specific thing or that specific thing? Or how does it compare to this? I'm happy to tell you. If you said, man, I really like, what else is sitting in front of me here that I haven't picked up yet to play with? The Vero. What are your honest thoughts on the action on the Vero Impulse Mini? Or this is the, oh God, now my mind is blanking. This is not the Impulse. Anyway, whichever one it is, that's how my brain is working today. Maybe I needed stronger coffee. Anyway, what are your real thoughts about the ergonomics on that Vero engineering knife? What are your thoughts on comparing it to something else in that size range? How would you compare it to the Mula? What should be better for this or for that? Leave those comments, and I'm always happy to answer them as long as I see them. Sometimes I don't get the reports and don't always understand why, but whatever. I do try to check back on videos and see what people are asking. But I think at the end of the day, know who it is that you're watching. Understand what their motivations are. And there is nothing wrong with them doing it as a business and doing it for a living. Just remember to keep up with that level of output. They're going to be accepting knives from brands that I get emails 2, 3, 4 times a week from brands most I've never even heard of. Hey, we saw your channel. We thought you were unique and you were terrific. We'd love to partner with you. Would you like to review our products? And I look at their website and go, oh shit, no. And then I'll see a month later an upload from XYZ YouTuber reviewing that exact same product. So I know where they found out about it, and they're just taking anything they can because they have to fill their calendar. Don't hold it against them because it is what they're doing for a living. And you know what? The struggle is real. They're working their asses off to do it. But just remember, if everything on the table in front of them is the greatest thing they've ever had in their lives and they're yipping and yelping about everything, it's most likely not true. Just take that little piece of advice, and I think most of you kind of already know this, but it's easy to get sucked in, and it's easy to get sucked into a personality. A lot of people watch me and have no interest in buying the knives that I'm going to be bringing out. They look at the thumbnail and go, looks like a cool knife. I know I can't afford it, but let's see the goofy shit Jim's going to do. Because they like my personality. Hey man, that's awesome. Great, thank you. And there are people that will avoid my videos. It could be a knife that they really want to know about. And I was the first person to get one a month before anybody else. Mine is the only video online about it. And they still won't watch it because they don't like my personality. I get that as well. So just know who it is that you're watching. Take it at face value. Listen for the buzzwords. And listen for the things that you need to know. What about that knife as they're holding it, as they're touching it, appeals to them that you know would appeal to you as well? And if they are balanced, they give you pros and cons, are the things that they're saying negatively really going to impact your buying decision or not? A lot of them will, knock a knife because it's not a deep carry pocket clip. And I'll tell you straight up, I don't give a shit because I'm not a secret agent. And any clip, no matter how deep it is sticking out of your pocket. somebody will see that clip. They know it's a knife. You're not a super secret agent. You're not fooling anybody. So when I say that it sticks up out of the pocket by 1/4 of an inch, but I really don't care, and you feel the same way, then you know that that's another box that gets ticked off in favor for buying that knife. If deep carry pocket clips are a big deal to you, and I say that much of the knife is sticking up, then you know, well, that's one thing that's going in the negative column. He's not being biased about it. He's just saying that's where it's at. So whatever it is that you're looking to buy, whether it be knives, whether it be televisions, whether it be a cordless fucking drill, look at their other videos. Do they have that shill feeling about them? Are they pumping out so much content that they really can't discriminate? They can't look at this product and go, I mean, it looks cool, but, you know, the edge is kind of shitty and the action is kind of shitty. And when somebody buys it, they're not actually going to like it. But, hey, I got a calendar to fill. I got to get a bunch of knives out on the table. You'll be able to pick up on those pretty easily. And the thing is, the vast majority of knife reviewers that are on YouTube now, they kind of do that. But there's still a lot. And I'm not going to say who the really great ones are, because if I rattle off 10 great reviewers and I forget to mention one, then it sounds to you like, well, that's the guy that I've got to avoid because he omitted mentioning that person's name. So I'm not doing all that. There are some really, really, really great knife reviewers out there. Really great ones. And I hop into their live streams every now and then. So if you see me in somebody's live stream, you know it's because I actually watch their videos, so I know when they're doing live streams. I enjoy watching their reviews. I enjoy their personality. I enjoy the type of things they bring out. So I can't sit here and say, watch this person and watch that person. It's not my place to dictate that. But there's some really, really good reviewers out there. Even if they're not super professional. Even if they don't speak with wonderful clarity. Even if they don't have great lighting and cool backdrops and a cool set. Forget all that. Those things are nice because you can see the knives in higher quality. You can enjoy the presentation a little bit more. And you see if they care enough to put that kind of time in there. But there are a lot of people that work 40, 50 hours a week. They don't have time to do all that shit. But they still enjoy talking about knives. And they get in a new knife that excites the living shit out of them. And they want to share it with people. They want to show it to people. They want people to go, I really think that's cool. Let me go see if I can find one to add to my collection because that fits into what I like to buy. So anyway, that's a lot of rambling for one video. I'm going to cut it off here. I'm going to go reheat my coffee because it got a little bit too chilly. That last sip was just not very enjoyable. I do have some videos coming out very shortly here. I will go ahead and do, even though I've done each generation of the Varganized VBR, and the only difference on this one is the fact that he added thumb studs, I can't ignore how much I love this knife, so I will do a review on that. That's forthcoming. I have an American Blade Works knife to bring out to you. I still have to do these Hoback videos, which I'm very excited about doing, but I'm being very careful about how I do them. And I still got to bring the Mirage video out. When I got this from Brian Winters, this was right as I was moving. So I actually used this knife a lot when I was tearing down cardboard and stuff like that. So it actually got a good amount of use. But I didn't get a chance to really make a video review to tell you what this knife really is. A lot of other people already covered it. Some great channels. Screamin' Pirate EDC, I know for certain did a video on it. I'm not sure who else did, but it's a great knife. I still like the Factor a lot more, but this is still a great knife. It's not the same. It doesn't operate the same. It has a different principle behind it, so I really do feel I need to get a video out on that. I still have to do a video on the new Alpha Beast with the Damascus and Timascus. I was fortunate enough to get number 1 of the 10 that were made. So yes, hey, benefit, I got a number 1. What else? I think I've covered all the ones that are sitting out here. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys for joining me as always. And don't forget to subscribe. The bigger my subscribership is, the more opportunities I have to do things like cool live streams and stuff like that. If you're not a member of my Patreon already, I'll put that up here on the screen. And if you don't want to do Patreon, YouTube has this new thing called a super thanks. There's like a little dollar sign down at the bottom. You can click that. You can donate $1 or whatever you want to a channel if you like their videos. Again, every dollar that you send in allows me to buy cooler stuff to bring out to you or upgrade things surrounding me to make the videos a little bit better. And that's pretty much it. So I'll see you on the next video.